Aloha Audleyites, I'm back with another Audley Analyzes video after a short break. I figured there's no better team to focus on right now than the one that's been on center stage all weekend with the drama early on this week, and that's Team Liquid. And so I'm going to be looking at the captain of Team Liquid himself, Mr. 200K, Aaron Ace Elam. And we're going to watch his point of view on this Fathom flag gameplay from earlier tonight in a game battles match against Allegiance. Off the start, we see him just kind of running out the front, but he kind of swings around a treehouse, and I don't really like this like opening. It's really, like, you saw how easily it caught a grenade, and then he and Unlegit both were just out of the ability to make a play for a moment there. But we saw Naded, and Nade had thrown a combat evolved nade to get himself the railgun off the start. And Ace was in position to clean that up. Now he's got this railgun in position in front of the red base around their garage or whatever you want to call that area, and he's just looking across map to get these sightlines. I don't like that he pushed out there with the railgun, even though he was still just trying to get sightlines and pressure on the players that were across the map, either coming off spawn or in that case top middle. And he did that to open up a push for Hines. But in doing so, he also kind of opened up the spawns behind him, and he exposed himself to die with a power weapon right in front of the other team's base. Kind of a risky play there, and we're going to see if it pays off. Hines has got the flag all the way across, but Ace dying where he did ended up meaning that APG was stranded, and the other team had the flag out as well. Ultron gets that all the way back to their base, so we've got ourselves a flag standoff, and Ace is getting picked off in the middle of the map. You see him immediately coming back to this flag, which is a good sign considering that both flags are out, which means if either of them get returned, it's probably going to be a score. And he saw when he came off spawn there, he put a shot in the other flag guy, so it kind of revealed where the flag was and what he needed to do. He didn't worry about that flag and the tunnel vision on it, even though it was pushed out too far, because he knew that the other team was putting pressure on his flag carrier, so they need to make sure their side of the map is clear before they can push off. Here he spawns nowhere near his flag, so he's like, okay, we just saw 3 guys on their team die. And so he's pushing out a little bit. But the bad thing about what he's doing right now is that he's the only one on this side of the map, and he should know those players are coming off spawn. He didn't challenge or try to force that play too hard though, so he backed off, got into the treehouse, stayed alive, and then waited on that player to like get shot at or put shots in one of his teammates before he dropped and went to fight them. So that was a good play to stay alive. He didn't try to force anything with the other flag carrier. And now we see him just charging after L-Town. L-Town makes a great play there, throwing the flag as far toward his side of the map as he could. Ace steps off the recovery for just a second. I don't think it would have mattered. I think Naded had that touch either way. I'm actually going to rewind just to see exactly how that flag return goes. Alright, so we see L-Town throws the flag away. He throws it toward his teammates, and that's a really great play out of L-Town. I know we're focusing on Ace here, but I want to stress what L-Town just did. He knew that there were 2 Liquid members putting pressure on him, and so he got the flag as far away from those players as he could to make sure his teammates could either keep the flag going and like try to slay the Liquid guys while the flag doesn't get returned. And he just keeps it away from them. He's playing a game of monkey in the middle, so to speak. And we see I've lost the UI for the flag return, but Ace steps a little bit away from it, and then Naded drops down on it to get it out of his hands. So good play by Naded there. You see off his spawn, Ace is looking for that railgun. Put shots at him to try to keep his teammate alive. And he's just using these grenades to scout for where anyone might be. He's challenging the player he knew just had railgun. Kind of a Unfortunate circumstance, but at the same time, he really needed to be in a safer position, knowing the enemy team had the railgun out and about. Trying to stay alive here after encountering Nate. Sees a couple of players on his radar. Goes hunting. That was actually a good job by Suspector there. I'm going to rewind to stress exactly what Suspector did. But you see, as Aaron's starting to come around, or as Ace is coming around this corner, he sees there's a player on his radar, and he comes around the corner. But Suspector is already firing before Ace comes around the corner, and Ace used his thrust to get around this corner in a hurry to try to get pressure on him. So Ace is forced to commit suicide with the splinter grenade to make sure there's going to be a kill trade because he took damage first. As he comes off spawn, they've done damage to the red carrier, so what he's doing, he saw there were teammates of his toward the silo, so he rotated backwards to get an angle from a different side. Like, he didn't want to follow APG in that situation. He just wanted to get, like, a separate angle to help. That way you're not both approaching from the same way, you won't both take damage at the same time. And he's cutting off the escape routes. I don't really know why he's moving in a treehouse, unless he just really wanted that storm rifle. But he wasn't even using the storm rifle when he picked it up, so it was kind of weird there that he put himself in position to be 2-on-1, because Kratos wouldn't have had a sight line on him if he had just stayed underneath and gone down low to try to get to the base that way, and he may not have even shown up on radar that way. So it's kind of a strange play by Ace to push into the treehouse there. On the plus side, he had a good death cam to see the players going into his base, which helps him know, hey, I need to get back and help my teammates clear off this flag. And he does rotate back to the flag, and he focused on killing the player that was getting the return, which is really important there. It helps keep this flag standoff alive and keeps his team from giving up a point this early in the game. Here he's pushing in a treehouse by himself again, coming up on this ledge just to bait the grenades, but he can't really go anywhere from here. This is a dead ledge. There's nothing you can do from up here except for wait for people to come out. And we see he's fighting a one-on-one at this treehouse, and it's no longer a 1v1 because he got shot in the back from... I don't really like the idea of pushing this treehouse as he keeps doing. We've seen it a couple of times now. But the one thing about pushing in a treehouse from the side is you're never going to have a teammate with an angle on anyone you're fighting when you come from over here. Because, like, if there's someone coming from right here, the only way your teammates can see them is, like, if they're basically in a no man's land in front of your base, or if they've pushed all the way through the splinter grenade hall, or if they're, like, in front of the opponent's base. But if you're the one as your team's frontliner and you're pushing into the treehouse, which is what Ace has done the last couple of lives, like, and your team doesn't have anyone top middle as well, there's no way you can get help if you encounter anyone in this area. So it's kind of risky to just push over this way. It might be okay if you're flanking, but if you encounter anyone, they're going to be able to get a sight line on you to get help faster than you can, like, get help from your teammates. And it's really the same way for both tree houses. Like, even if it's your own tree house, I'm gonna kind of hover around here for a minute. You can't really get help from anyone on your team if you encounter someone in there, but there are ways to get other angles from your own tree houses. You can hop up into the area up here, and, like, if you're pushing together, the first guy, say, goes up here and hops on the ledge, and if there's anybody down in there, he can drop on them or just, like, wait while your teammate pushes in, and whichever one that guy commits to fighting, the other one just, like, backs off for a moment and just waits, and then you eventually have a 2-on-1 situation where both are trying to stay alive. Instead of, when you're coming from the other angle, there's no way to get a teammate also in the treehouse with you other than coming from top middle. Or just following you, which, again, is not good. So he was challenging the player in treehouse there. Really needed to win that one-on-one, but it was not a one-on-one he was going to win. I'm actually going to rewind because I was focused on something else. He had the railgun and the light rifle. He got weakened. And this is a really awkward position to be caught in. Oh, I did not mean to rewind there. Sorry about that, folks. Going to fast forward till he gets back up top middle. Oh, the joys of 20-second rewinds. Okay. It's a really unfortunate position to be in because he's forced to use his opponent's column on top middle to block sidelines. And if any of them actually go front of their base or happen to come to their silo, he is 100% dead. He's kind of lucks out to have a teammate in position to clean up the player that was fighting him, and then he pokes back out to help that teammate, and Nathan gets just back into cover in time. And while Ace is reloading, he's completely exposed, doesn't back down or try to get his shields. One thing he could have done there, and it throws me out of camera again, he could have drifted off to the side while he was reloading and then just jump off and clamber back up as he's finished reloading. But that was something probably can't think of in the heat of the moment, which is a very heated moment for Ace there. And he ended up getting picked off before he could get into any cover because top middle is very exposed, especially from its sides. The only real cover you have are the two columns and the raised platform where railgun spawns. We see him flanking through bottom middle here though. He spotted the flag carrier over on treehouse. He didn't seem to acknowledge that he spotted the flag carrier though. And Allegiants do a great job of calling him out on his flank. And he gets shots put him from two different angles and cleaned up. See Suspector still chilling on the other side. And I do believe APG killed the flag carrier there. And indeed, but Kratos got back over there in a hurry, and Naded is there to spawn and keep the flag alive. Once again, Ace coming off spawn. Does a good job here putting shots on the railgun, thrusting as the shot's about to come out so we can win that fight. But again, we see him pushing by himself to the treehouse, and there's just 4 Allegiance members just huddled around this treehouse. Well, the Liquid members aren't really in a position to help. We see Unlegit top middle, getting shots in Suspector, probably about to get teamed up on. And Ace is just caught off guard. See, L-Town is now charging Hines, and Naded is going too because they know they picked off Ace. So what's happened is Hines is all by himself with this flag against 2 guys. Ace is coming off spawn. I think the flag is down for Allegiance somewhere over in this area. I don't actually see. Okay, the flag is being killed by APG right now, and Ace is coming off spawn. He needs to rotate back to Hines because Unlegit is dead top middle. Ace is coming off spawn, and 2 guys are rushing Hines, while APG is in a one-on-one against the flag carrier. Instead, he starts to push out. He was really slow coming back. APG got the flag return, but so did Allegiance because Ace took a few steps forward, and it took him way too long to get back. It's an unfortunate situation there. May not have been communicated well that APG was 100% going to get that return. And so Ace was just a little bit slow getting back to the base. If either of your teammates are dead, like if your team is 2 dead on Fathom flag during a flag standoff, when you come off spawn, you need to rotate back to your flag carrier and make sure your side of the map is cleared off before you ever consider what the enemy flag situation is. Unless like 100% your guy can stay alive and he's already on the cap and like the flag's right there, it's generally going to be a safer play to rotate back to your flag. See, coming off spawn here. Neither team captured off of that long standoff because both flags got returned. Let's see, once again, Ace still pushing this other side treehouse by himself. And you see Allegiance just two-manning that side of the map to make sure they always have the area handled.
10 seconds to railgun.
You see him pushing in through elbow right now. He spots the Spectre as he comes into the base. He's looking to win this fight. And because he was already in a fight here, he's forced to back down through elbow. His other option in this situation would have been to thrust to the left and go into this door, which actually would have broken the sight line and forced the other player to throw grenades, and he could have dropped the flag and then made a decision what to do with it. But instead what he's doing is backing up, and this is actually a longer walk than people realize from this flag spot all the way to right here. There's plenty of time to have 4 or 5 shots put in you while you're walking the flag all the way to the elbow. And people underestimate how much damage you can actually take in that time. And you see what ends up happening. He drops the flag and pulls away. He could have actually gotten that flag off of the sight line. Instead he dropped it right before he goes around the corner, and you see they're getting that return. He's challenging the railgun, which somehow killed him around the corner there. Gonna chalk that one up to good old spectator mode. Fortunately for Ace, his team's flag was not out, so that botched flag run does not come with a punish. And here you see him pulling around, trying to get sightlines on the other team. Good help of his teammate there. He's rushing into the base to get this flag grab. And here, there's no one putting any pressure on him, so he should just run this flag as fast as he can, go right out the door and through the pit. Instead, he's running it to the treehouse. I'm actually going to make sure no one on the red team has a flag as well. Okay, no one on red team has flag yet. Kratos has camo inside Ace's base, but he had no pressure on him when he was grabbing this flag, so he would have been able to actually just run it out the front without any problems. And now he's going up top, he's challenging a railgun, and here he's in this corner of the map, and once you're caught in this corner with the flag, the other team has so much space to work with on the map because they know you're trapped there, because you can't go forward without running into their shots, and your only other option is to backtrack, which you don't want to do, and you're probably going to take damage even if you do try to backtrack. So if you ever end up running the flag treehouse, you want to take it top middle, and since he saw the railgun top middle, he should have just like backtracked to the garage door and tried to go under splinter grenades to at least juke out the railgun player or force the railgun player to drop. Instead, he pushed forward, and that says, hey railgun player, you can just stay top middle and wait for me, like right here, and have a sight line on me to pick me off there. While the railgun player's teammates are rotating into air and space in order to try to get their own flag grab. This is a really sticky situation Ace has got himself into, and the railgun player actually ends up just pushing him and smothering him and getting the return. Unlegit's in position to get another grab though, which is a good sign to keep the standoff going. But here Ace is in another difficult situation. He sees players getting the return on the flag that Kevin threw out, so he's got to be prepared to grenade the flag that's about to be grabbed by the Allegiance members. And Allegiance doing a great job just hugging the walls for the moment there. Ace does get the grenades thrown in, but the flag goes in while he's busy dealing with the third player. And I'm going to rewind just for a moment there, because he makes the great play to get the double kill. But he should know, hey, there's 2 dead now, maybe 3 dead. They're going to be spawning somewhere. And his teammates kind of ish blocking silo spawns, not really. There's kind of an equal presence on all the spawns from the way Ace and APG are right now. But with Nated having just captured the flag, that means there's a positive influence on elbow. So the Allegiance players are gonna be spawning where Nated is. And as a result, Ace panics and jumps into the flag, and he immediately sees 2 people. Right this moment, he should thrust out of the base. He was a little slow on that reaction. May not have actually seen the player because he was actually behind Naded's body, which is what would have probably kept him from getting out of the base in time. It was an unfortunate situation there. But he really should not have charged into the base right after getting us 2 kills before cleaning up the third guy. Maybe he thought he had time. Gotta remember the respawns and flag are super fast. Here he's just fighting off the players that are in there. Actually leaves APG to rotate back to help his team. It's not a problem. He's pushing into the base now. Here. Actually, he's done a good job thrusting into the base because he realizes players are coming off the silo spawns to push him. He's just trying to stay alive as long as he can while his... Oh, I thought his teammate was running the flag, but apparently no one else was in there. I think the other player got picked off by the players coming off spawn. See here, Kratos seems to have grabbed camo. APG forces it to be a burn. You see Hines in this garage area with the railgun, just putting pressure on spawns. It takes it to elbow, and L-Tone ends up taking him down. We've got a minute left in the game. At this point, Team Liquid have to be saying, we just have to get a grab, guys. We have to push up and get a grab. There's 1 minute left in order to force overtime. Suspector comes flying down with the ground pound and misses. Ace with a perfect 4 shots. He's gotten into the base. Spectres come off spawn. Ace seems to have realized that he spawned over in that corner, and since he believes there to be a player right there, and actually you can see on the radar there's a player right in front of him, he should just throw this flag out the window and follow it up, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's running it toward the sleigh, which is perfectly okay to do. I think it's one thing evil geniuses do a lot. They'll grab the flag and they'll just like throw it toward where they're about to run to slay, and then they'll go try to kill people where they've run the flag. You see Hines getting the flag just a little bit further. He gets taken down. But we've already got the flag back in the hands of, I believe, Hines or APG? I'm not sure which one happened. It may not have been Hines that guy. See the flag coming in now, and they have the capture with 8 seconds. It's gonna be forcing overtime. It was so huge that they got that cap. Now Ace pushing up aggressively. He's probably got a little bit of adrenaline rush from tying this game up just in time. But he forgets to look where he's going as he's pushing into the base and gets picked off from the side. He's coming off spawn. He looks to see his teammate in battle. If he wasn't, he should have been communicating, I'm on my way to help you, stay alive. I assume he was in that situation because it looked like APG hugged the wall to stay alive as long as he could. But they were a little bit panicked there because there was a flag out, so I'm actually going to rewind and pause. I think it's Suspector that has... No, someone has this flag. Must be right as Naded grabs the flag here. So Naded has grabbed this flag, and you notice Naded also running at the fast route because there's no pressure on him as he comes off spawn. And he knows Ace is dead. Unlegit is trying to get top middle. APG is over at the splinter grenades, and Hines is in battle with 2 different Allegiance players, while Naded is running this flag straight through the middle of the map. So when Ace comes off spawn, he knows he's got to get to the base as fast as he can. He's not going to make it on time. And all of the Legions are rotating back. Ace takes a little bit of damage from that splinter grenade from APG, I believe. And he gets taken down because of it. You see off spawn, he's moving toward where his teammates were, but he realizes, oh, we don't have any coverage on this side of the map, so he's actually rotating back to where his teammates weren't, and that's so he can play this map out like it's a set of lanes, and he's making sure no lane is unwatched. Fortunately, he pushes into a grenade there. He kind of got baited back to his flag, but he does help his teammates get the kill, and Unlegit, I believe, is bringing in that flag. So He stayed on his side of the map to make sure no one got into his base, and he did a great job there making sure his team ended up getting the capture. Here he's on the porch just trying to get slays so he can push into the base. He needs to just stay alive as long as he can, but he does need to be aware there is a chance that a player is about to spawn behind him, because APG and Unlegit are both sort of blocking that garage area, and there's no one behind him blocking the silo spawns. So unless the player he just killed spawns inside the base, he's actually going to spawn right there behind him. I'm actually going to watch to see if that happens. It doesn't actually matter. The player ended up spawning inside the base. But Ace got pushed. He's doing a great job working with APG to push this side of the garage, the other treehouse. And he's pushing into the base with APG. They've gotten 2 dead. It's 3 on 2 right now. And what I'm going to point out here is there's a player already behind him coming off silo spawn and rotating back to the base. I'm going to play it out slowly from here because, as I mentioned earlier, running it to elbow, there's a long period of time where it's actually a lot of steps. There's plenty of time to get 4 or 5 shots put in you as you run it that way. And the other thing I want to point out, the actual silo spawn points are usually going to be the ones right here. So if you'll notice, if you jump up, you can actually see a flag carrier as you come off spawn right here. And if you have time for 4 or 5 shots, guess what? That means you can kill a flag carrier as he grabs it before he gets out of your vision. Or you can throw a grenade to right there, and a lot of times the flag carrier will actually eat a grenade as he tries to go in treehouse if you run it this direction. Instead, I actually grenaded the elbow, and Ace has taken a ton of damage. If he had just thrown the flag out the front of the base, he would have been able to bait the flag because it was a 3-on-2 situation. They could have, he and APG both could have turned, melted Kratos, who was just pushing straight, and then turned onto the final guy over here, and then just run the flag fast through pit and won the game. Instead, he's dropped himself to no shields. He gets naded twice and dies. APG gets shot to death by Kratos. And I believe L-Town may have been the other one helping there. Now he's coming off spawn, and he's got to help his teammates stay alive. He's getting pushed from 2 different directions, and you see those green hit markers. He's just hit his teammate with a grenade while he's no shields. His grenade here has completely opened up this push for both L-Town and Suspector to come into the base, and he's just trying to do whatever damage he can. Forced to reload. He gets the kill, and now he's got to get to the other side of the map alive. APG is already on that touch, and this flag, we don't have the indicator to show how close this flag is to being returned, but Ace is full shields. He needs to get on this return before any of these players can touch it. And Suspector was one shot. Suspector gets the touch. Ace is trying to get on the re, but he's just not there in time. L-Tone is going to run that in, and Allegiance win this game. A few very costly mistakes from Ace there at the end. Some plays I don't really understand throughout the middle of the game, like just going alone into the other team's treehouse. It's just not an easy way to be helped from your team. You have to win one-on-ones. You're forcing yourself into one-on-ones when you're over there. And I'm not saying you shouldn't go there, because again, it's a situational thing where you just don't have much else to do in order to cut off these routes from your opponents, other than if you wanted to just sit on your porch basically and use light rifle or something to try to force this choke point into a battle. But doing that, you're forcing yourself into a situation where you can be grenaded. So you do need presence on this side of the map. You just have to find a way to approach it without putting yourself into 1-on-2 situations, and that's up to a player-by-player basis how they want to do that. I'm not really here to say, hey, never go into the enemy team's treehouse, because it is important to cut off those routes, and finding a way to do that is extremely important, but it is a risk to come into this area. So I do want to point that out as, analytically speaking, the other team's treehouse is a weak position to be in, and it's a difficult position to actually push because of the ways they can get into it compared to the ways you can get into it. But with that said, this video has run super long, so I'm going to cut it short now. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you tune in next time. And we know it means hello, it also means goodbye, so I'm going to close it with an aloha.